Well, welcome back to the channel. Farmer Clay here. Today we're doing a service on our Massey Ferguson 4707. I have it here in the shop. We're doing a few other little add-ons to it and a few upgrades. Previous video you saw where I upgraded these lights. And as you see up in the corner here, we're putting a 55-inch LED light bar on. And so I just kind of got it mocked up for now, building some new brackets for it. But I was going to kind of go through on this tractor all the steps and everything you got to do for servicing one of these. There's not a lot of videos out on kind of doing a service on them, so the dealer support's really good for AGCO, at least in my area it is. So I can lean on them pretty good. But for the farmers that want to do it themselves, such as myself, you can follow along the video and kind of learn all the ins and outs on how to service this tractor and what things to watch for and tips and tricks on how to do it too. I hope it helps. I'm not a professional and I'm not trained by any means. I just learn by working my way through and making a few mistakes along the ways, but try to get there to do it. The other one we're going to do is we're upgrading those lights up here too on the back. I got some new LEDs that'll match the front. They're that's a brand I get online. Nothing fancy, but they work really well. Right here's these guys. But the problem that I have on those ones that we're having to get all creative on is the brackets don't fit. They're two different sizes. So let's see here. This is the bracket here that comes off of the new ones versus the old lights. These are the ones off the front. As you can see how those are that direction. So do this here. So as you can see, the new brackets are quite a bit smaller. So we run into an issue of trying to get the new lights hooked up without reinventing the wheel. So the best case scenario is I made these. They're not the prettiest bends, so forgive me. I don't have a brake yet for my press, so I'm just kind of making do with some weird farmer stuff here and some angle iron, but I got them pressed and fairly parallel. So I'll if Swag Off-Road wants to send me one for my press, by all means, I would totally let ya. Or at least a coupon code. That'd be pretty awesome too. But I'm not sponsored by them, but I like the way that their product looks, and I think it'd be perfect fit for my shop here at the farm. But this is the one that I have left to go. This is the one that I already have mounted on there. So I used factory bolts because I wanted to still stick with the one bolts or the one wrench system for adjustments. So these ones here I will snug down pretty firm and tight, but I got them tapered down in there, the holes drilled. I just got to make the other one now to match. And it'll basically just be a light extension. So my light will sit up and shine kind of what it's supposed to do up there on the back. So there's the factory one that's up there, and these are the ones that'll kind of go in there so I don't have any clearance issues. So that's step one of the light upgrade for the back. I'll grab my ladder here and I'll show you what I'm doing on the front and what you have to watch out for as you do this. I try not to bash too much on my tractor, but there are some realistic things that do happen. One of them is the plastic caps on the top of these. The plastic ridge cap like that guy right there. The earlier models, I can't speak for the later models, but the earlier models have a tendency of cracking and breaking. So this is the used one, so the back is actually broke off it. But just these little sections do that. So in this video, I'm going to maybe cover on what I'm finding on how to remedy that, as a at-home farmer can remedy it, and see what we can do to prevent it. So like this one here is the back of the right side, and you can see how it was eating into this here. Come on, focus. There we go. It was eating in and notched that out. So I want to see if maybe if I have to do a little trimming on that plastic to give it some free space so it can move. Because that's the only thing I saw that caused this to have an issue in the back, or to crack this off. I did have a little rub mark right here, and so if I got to come in with a Dremel tool or something and etch a little bit of that out, but yeah, so once again, this is a 2018, I believe. I bought it in 19. And it's been a really good tractor. I try not to bash on her too much because she's been an outstanding unit for me. But as you can see, there's that other front piece over there that's cracked off there. And once again, it's kind of the same thing. I think it just can't expand and contract like it needs to. So, but I built this plate here is what I built. This is a, I don't know, some Amazon brand light, Nylite or whatever. I have one on my side-by-side. They've held up pretty good over the years on the front brush guard. This is another Amazon bracket. This isn't the same bracket that came on there. This is a different Amazon bracket that I drilled another hole up on it so that way I can close the gap and lift this up a little higher. I haven't decided if it's going to stay down like that or if I was going to mount it up, because this does eat a little view up of the tractor seat. As you get your loader up higher, it does eat a little bit of visibility. So I might flip it around and put it up on top here, and that way it keeps my visibility and then gets me a better down angle as it's shooting out. So, but this is the bracket I made. This is the factory one here. There's the bolt up in there, that's factory. So this is all factory stuff, so I just built this bracket to extend out here. Now, I found when I was running it the other day and had it on, I was watching a lot of vibration in it. So there's 2 holes here that are factory holes. And my 1/4 inch bolts were pretty snug going through the powder coat, but I got those in. And then this is 1 inch strap, 1/4 inch thick, that I bent at an angle here, and it's just resting up underneath there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit the top of this, all this plastic back on, and try to get that nice and pretty, because if you have this angled up, you hear that plastic squeaking, and that'll distort where the plastic sits, and I don't want to create cracking issues in those plastic caps. So I got to get all that plastic set on here nice and pretty how we like it. Then I can come in and I just got to grind down this piece right up in here. And once I get everything fit nice, then I'm going to cover this up with a blanket and just reach up and tack it. And on each side, get them tacked in. Then I'll pull this bracket off, those bolts out, come down, and I'll weld it up really nice. And that should, and the same thing for the other side. And that should get stable brackets up here for this light bar, because if we just went off this thin tin like that, being extended this far out, I mean, this is a 6-inch piece, or excuse me, this is an 8-inch piece, and those holes are 6 inches out, and that gives you clearance right here at this point. Now, if you go up, you're not gonna have to worry too much about clearance, and you could probably bring it back a little bit, which I might end up doing. We don't know yet. This is still all being modified as we go. But all I gotta do is just bring the bolt hole back and put it in there. And if I could do that and it brings it back, it just puts less stress on everything. So, and the other thing I thought about doing, because, you know, I like my lights, is if I put this up on top, you know, I can hang another light down off the bottom. You know, I could get real fancy and over ridiculous on it. But with this on the front, I lit it up, and I'm not exaggerating, the stop sign a 1/4 mile away was lit up like daylight, like I was sitting right in front of it with a big old spotlight. So it's a pretty good addition. There's a couple other guys I've seen on Facebook and some of the groups I'm in, they do the same thing and they like it. I don't know on their bracketry, stuff like that, how they did it. Pretty similar to what I did, but I like to go overkill and make sure I don't create other issues by doing it. Yeah. So there was the thought of putting another one on the back, but I think with those other ones, I will be just fine using the other ones, just replacing those guys. And then if I have to, if I need more, I think I'm just gonna clamp them onto this, and I'll build a Y harness to tie onto it, and then I'll just clamp them onto this on each side, and then I'll have 4 on the back. And I think that would be better than with me trying to mess around with trying to build the brackets for the back, because I don't have as much area on the back. Or if I did build brackets or something for a light bar, I try to go off those bars itself. But most of my work is front end work that I do. So I'm pretty happy with what that looks like up on there. And then for this side here, I'll have that harness there, this pigtail, and I'm just gonna send it back down in there with a grommet and like a fishtail, so that way it doesn't fall in any further, so I can always get it back out. And actually, I think it feeds from the top, so if it just dangles in there, I just might put a little heat shrink around it, so that way it doesn't rattle around in there and damage the plastic and stuff. But like you guys know, well, you probably don't know, but I do go a little excessive on some things and overthink. The other thing I did is I have my top cover off for my heating and cooling up there, and I just blew it all out. It was pretty dusty and dirty up top, so where my air conditioning, heating duct, and all that stuff was, I just got that all cleaned out. I don't think it really affects a whole lot inside the cab, but I just went ahead and got it clean just because I was there, so might as well do it. So. All right, I'm going to finish up this other bracket, and then we'll pick up and I'll get my creeper and we'll start going around on this tractor, and I'll kind of show you how I do the service on my tractor. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but this is how I do it. So one of the things I'm also doing to the tractor during the service is all the lights, like where, obviously the light bar upgrade, we're doing that. I do got the loader arms lifted on up out of their way here, so that way I can sneak in and do a little bit here. But as you can see, these are the standard stock headlights. I went and I've been ordering, I know they're made in China, whatever. And so it's kind of one of those things, it's one of the prices you pay for what you get, and they're a little bit cheaper, but I've had pretty good luck with them. And I get them just off of Amazon. Is this Oxito, whatever it is. I mean, if somebody has bad luck with it, yeah, sorry, I don't know. I've had pretty good luck with everything I'm putting it in. I like the lights, they're pretty bright. These are the 6500Ks for the color temperature, so that's like the bright white, so it'll match all the rest of the LEDs. But these are for the headlights. They're both the same. Both these boxes are the same of them. But if you're curious and you want some yourself, they're the H7s, or no, the HU7s. I got a picture of them, I'll post it in the video there, somewhere in here. Come on, focus. Of course I don't want to focus. But yeah, it's just the Oxito H7 lights. So I'm gonna pull those out of the front and put these in, see how they look. They might look good, they might not, but I've had good lucks with these in other vehicles and stuff like that around the place here. So I figured I'd give them a shot on here just to get me some more lights in the front. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're definitely not like the big LED light is up top. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill the lights on it, and I will pull them out. They're pretty easy, but once I get up in there, I'll show you how to take them on out for anybody else asking. Then I'll show you the numbers on the back of the ones I pull out too. So anybody wanting to do the upgrade themselves, they can get the parts ordered, find the headlights they want, and go from there. So once again, I'm just informational. I'm getting part numbers and stuff laying out there for people that ask. I know another one is what battery do people run with? We have O'Reilly's where we're at, but I got a Platinum AGM in here, and this one's 800 cold cranking amps. It's a 94 RPLT. That's 94 RPLT, 800 cold cranking amps. I put this one in, and I think there are a bigger version of it, but I put this one in. It fits pretty good all the way around. I've had really good luck. We had some 40 below weather here not too long ago, and this thing just started up like a champ. A few of the things I did too, obviously a block heater, but I also put some heating pads, battery heating pads on the fuel filters. They go on right there, one on each one of them. So I plugged those in, so it kept those toasty warm. And I'm actually working with a gentleman over out of Miles City, and we're gonna try to see if we can't develop a plastic piece that clamps around with the heating pads glued into it. So you'll just clamp them on there, slide them up from the bottom, or however, whatever the best way to get them on there, but something we can clamp on. And just a wing nut to hold the heating pads on. I just had zip ties and it worked pretty good, but we wanted something just because this tractor will start up to 20 below, but once I get starting past 20 below, I start running into the problems that I gel up in my fuel filters, and then I get like 9 minutes or 13 minutes of run time, and then my tractor dies and I gotta change my fuel filters, and then it's good. But if I get a couple more of that really cold 30, 40 below, and no matter what diesel additives I have in, it doesn't matter. It'll just still, they'll gel up unless I run like straight number one. But even then, straight number one doesn't like 40 below very much. So, all right, I'll grab the ladder and I'll crawl up under there and I'll show you how to pull out the headlights and put the new ones in. So you can see it's a real comfy fit up in top here. So what you have, the back of these lights is these rubbers. You pull these off. You just set it to the side, don't lose them. You got a plastic connection right here. Pull that out. And then this wire in the bottom just shifts to the side and articulates up, and your headlamp comes out. Let me get out here to the light. Whoa. Uh-oh. My hood's trying to kill me. All right, so see if I can see it here and then get the camera in on it. H7U is the headlight. It's just this guy. Now my fingers were touching that. If I was putting it in, normally I would have my gloves on. You don't want your oils to touch that. It's probably not really true for the newer stuff, but it's just an old timer thing that got ingrained if you don't get your finger oils onto the bulb. So H7U is the part number on this one, 55 watt, 12 volt, H7U. So that's what comes out of there. So anybody curious on what to order beforehand, just something that's compatible with H7U. Get back in here and get the other ones put in. I'm just gonna go ahead and knock them all out. It's the same principle on all of them. So, and there's no difference in the lights. They're all the same all the way across. So I'll get that done and I will show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so I got 2 of them done. But it's my high beams I got done on the inside. This one I have out right now. I got the high beams done so you can see that color, and then we'll turn on the high beams here real quick. Oh, you see a visible light difference on the door. Yeah, those are way brighter. So the other ones, the housing has a few fingers that reach in there, and it's creating an issue with the LED light housing going in. So I gotta look at that to see if there's an issue with the LED light, the LED that I could fix, or if I just have to take them tabs off with like a little die grinder or something to get them to fit in. So, but I like to have the same ones all the way across because I think it just look a lot, it'll be a lot nicer. So just to get those LEDs across the board on it. So I will look into it a little bit more and go from there. But that's an ab workout, sitting up on that, leaning back and hooking your feet down in here. That's quite the ab workout, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore, so. But I'll get up back in there and take a look, see what I can do to make it work and go from there, and I'll let you know so that way if you guys want to do it yourself, you know what you're in for. All right, so I'm inside here. Those little tabs up in that housing there, those are creating my issue, so I'm gonna hit them with a deburring tool, see if I can't just get them out of the way and get this LED to fit. So I'll let you know if it works or not. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn on the lights. That is one LED and one regular halogen. Oh yeah. I was looking to see if the grinding did anything, but I like that a lot better for the front on that side than that side. So I know it's hard to see in my shop because I have my big lights on and I'd shut them off, but it takes them forever to warm up. So maybe right before I go to lunch, I'll shut them off, and that way you can kind of see what they look like inside the shop with no lights on in here. So, well, heck, I'll just go ahead and do it now. There, you can see the difference pretty good. So that's all the lights off in the shop. You see the difference there. And then we'll go high beam here. There's the high beam. Once again, that's one LED and one incandescent there, or halogen, I guess. So, all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and I ended up grinding that on out to get it to fit in there, but I don't see any issues that it caused. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it to the other one real quick, get it done, and we'll break for lunch, and I'll come back out and we'll get after the whole going through the service thing. So I had to swap out my grinding tools. My other one is sounding a bit worn out in life, so got my 90-degree one, and I think it should still reach up in there. Screw the pooch. All right, so we're gonna move forward here on, I got the headlights done. Took me a little longer. You gotta be careful when you do like where I ground and etched out on the two low beams. There is a little bracket that is just has three little clips that come into the housing that hold it there. You know, if you kind of watch what you're doing, you'll be all right. This one here, my bracket kind of got a little loose. So I got it recrimped. I think it's good. I don't know, I'm a little upset with what I did there. So just be forewarned, if they don't fit in, going with the grinder, and there's probably not the best idea. So if you do it, I'd probably maybe say if you can take and edge a little bit of the LED bulb off versus the headlamp assembly, that'd probably be a smarter move. But it is what it is. I got it there. It's all out and secure, so I'll just keep an eye on it. Worst case scenario, if I have to swap out that housing, lesson learned, I guess. Not super happy about it, but I guess you live and learn. So anyways, we're gonna move forward with going on the service on this. So a lot of simple basics on it. I believe the standard oil plug on it is a 27 millimeter. And the torque specs on that is 59 foot-pounds. And then the plugs, I think, are like a 14 or 15 millimeter for the axle plugs, Allen head socket. And then you'll need a 24 millimeter wrench as well. And that's, I'll show you for that, for greasing on it. So for your loader, as we look at this, you got 2 points here on your loader. You got one here. You got 3 up top there. You have 2, 4 here on the outside. And then depending on your setup, there's 2 more on the front of this, and then there's 2 up on that upper pivot one for that ram. When that comes down, I'll show you a little bit more. And then you have one here on the front of your front axle, and then this is your drain plug for your front axle. And then on the back side here, you have another grease zerk right there in the shadows. Let me get the flashlight so I can illuminate that. Put a little light on the subject. So you see the other one that's there. I gotta get that one cleaned up. I don't like to leave it. But you need a 24 millimeter wrench. You pull that off and then you can grease it. I tried putting a 45 and 90, you just can't do it. They have too much armor around it. So, and then right underneath there on the drive line, you'll see another grease zerk. You gotta get that one too. And then that's your check plug right there for your front axle, for your gear lube on the front axle. So that's all the kind of stuff on the front. There's your 2 fuel filters. I believe they come as a set. But those are your 2 fuel filters there. And then your oil filter is over on this side here. And then I think it takes 12 liters of oil. Check your manual, but I think it's 12 liters of oil. And then there's 2 drain plugs underneath here. I'll grab my creeper and I'll go down there and show you. And you have to drain them both for the service. And I know there's a lot of you guys that have these tractors out there that already know all this information. I'm just doing it for the people that might have bought a tractor recently and just learning about it. So there's one there and there's one there. I just did it. That actually oil, oh, excuse me there. That oil there is from the oil filter trickling on down. I just haven't washed the tractor yet. So like I said, there's one there and there's one there. You got to do both of them. 59 foot-pounds. The plugs, like your drain plug there, that's 59 foot-pounds as well. So one thing I saw just a minute ago, well, looking at my tractor too when I was underneath, is I got some grease there I need to get cleaned up. Is I saw a rub mark on my air boot for the air intake, and I got to figure out why. So if you guys have these tractors and you're watching this, check that out there, because that right there is a real fast way to dust an engine. So I got to figure out what of my light up here is rubbing on that rubber boot, and if what I got to do to articulate it out of the way, because yeah, we can't have that. That'll trash an engine in a hurry on a farm. So once again, check your belts and your belt tensions, clamps and everything like that when you're doing the service stuff. So the other one I did, here's your air filter. It's an inner and an outer. I just blew out the outer this time. I changed it last year. It wasn't that filthy, so I just blew it on out. And then your radiator, you got a radiator screen here you can pull out to check for filth or how dirty it is. I did wash it before I come in. I just have to go back out and get washed again. But one thing I do is with this plate here underneath the fuel tank is I take this off, because I don't like how the rocks get stuck down in this and with that plastic fuel tank. I haven't had an issue. There's no wears in it, but it's just kind of a maintenance thing that I've been doing to help protect the tractor from having issues. So you have a bolt here, 2 here, and then you have one back here. And you take it, those are all 10 millimeter. You take those 4 out and this whole plate comes down. The whole plate will come off, and then you can take it out and clean it. I had about 15 pounds of mud in mine, came down, and so just keep that in mind as you're doing it. But you just lay down with your knees into it, and then you can put it back up in there. The other one is right there's another greaser you got to do. So for that one there, that plate is in the way. Once again, Massey kind of missed that gap there on it. So these 2 right here, and I believe these were 13 or 14 millimeters. I took those, dropped that, and that drops that whole shield off. And then I was able to grease it from there. And then you get to the back, just kind of do inspection on everything, make sure your bolts are good there on both of that for your pin. So I'll come back around here and I'll show you the back side of a couple things you got to do too. Oh, bless me. All right, so you have a grease point there, one there. You got one there and one on the other side right over here. Right, somewhere right there. Yeah, right there. And then down there, there's that bolt out there on the end of that axle, that plug. And there's one on that side. You have to take those plugs out, put in your greaser. It's a 10 millimeter greaser. Put that in there, grease it, and then put your plug back in. You could probably leave a greaser in there, but I choose not to. I get a lot of mud and debris around out here, and I just don't want to run the risk of it breaking off, so I just put that back in there. So that's it's another item you have to do there. Don't miss out on that. There's a guy in a Facebook group, his bearing went out there because those never got greased. So don't forget to do those. Those are very important. And then your oil check level for your transmission sight glass is right down there. I'm a little low, but I also have my loader up in the air too, so there's that. Everything else back here I think is pretty self-explanatory for just going through and checking. I'm just trying to see. I don't think I have another one down there. I get a little oil leak because I always have hoses plugged in back here. I do have the oil trap kit that drains off to the side, but where I have like these hoses tied in all the time. These ones go, this is my live fourth, I guess you would call it, up on the front loader that I ran up. And then that plug in there is a 6-pin round for like a trailer, and that goes up to a box in the cab with 3 switches on it. And I run that style plug-in on my hay rake and a few other pieces of equipment, so I can run lights, and my hay rake I can control the wings and stuff like that. So that's what that one's for, and that's just the standard AGCO one. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. Oh, I guess I didn't show the transmission filter on the other side. Back down up under here, right there is the transmission filter, and that's an insert filter. It's a cartridge style. I have one over here. It's the last thing I haven't done that one yet, but it's cartridge style from AGCO. So that's the one that that's the last filter I have to do on this unit. So then just clean the cab and finish up the lighting and put the cab back on. So, but the service on them super simple. They're quick and easy to do. Just make sure that you observe all the safety stuff. You know, don't stand under the loader while it's overhead and not blocked off. That's just asking for trouble. So, but any questions, put them in the comments. I'll do the best I can answer on any of that stuff. I'll try to list as many part numbers as I can down in the comments or in the section for that. So, and once again, this is for my Massey. I believe this is the 2018 model. I bought it at 19. It's a 4707, so I don't have to mess with the DEF or any of that fun stuff. But yeah, it's a 2018, yep, 2018 model. So, but a pretty good unit. Just kind of got to do the basic maintenance and a few upgrades here and there to keep her going. So I'm gonna finish up a few things, and I got a few other, try to get the back lights in that cab on, and then we'll pull it on out. And the wind is just howling outside, so I don't want to do too much outside, but maybe pull it out and put a harrow on and go harrow some pastures down or something. So, all right, so I'm up here on the cab looking at this, and so this is one like where it cracked across the back. This tab here on this guy was ate in to this hole here. So I'm trying to just figure out is the fit and finish of this. I'm gonna put you down a sec. So as I put this all in here, you can see that one there, that lines up fairly decent. Well, there's not a lot of gap there for expansion or any of that. There's no bolt that goes in that one. The other tray, cross trays right there, that's be pushed down just a little bit. And that one there doesn't line up bad, but that one there is off. And I just feel like everything's kind of bound where this is really tight. So if I shave that, so if I speculate, if I take this off here and shave a little bit off so that way that has a little room in that hole, it will, see, it will allow it. And I might take some of this guy off out here and some of that guy, I don't think it's going to degrade it for strength, but what's going to happen is it'll allow it to come out, and which was the opposite for that hole. So maybe I take the inside, allow it to go that way and this way, and that'll give it a little more slack for this one up here. So just gonna plunky around, play around with it a little bit, see what I can figure out. I mean, if they crack, I guess it is what it is. It's the cross I gotta bear, but I gotta pull the main light down, and I'll get everything set, and then I'll come in and build my light brackets to get them set in there to where they don't adjust or flex or anything. So that's the next thing I'm gonna do real quick, is just take off that light and get that out of my way, and then I'll come back up to doing the roof. All right. Oh. I better shut him off before I get copyrighted. All music is owned by the proprietary people. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. Jamming out to a little Randy Travis. So, the other side, as I take apart, the back is intact. This one isn't showing any abnormal wear in that region on these pins, but this front side is what's broke, and the one that goes here, here's part of the plastic that goes up onto this, so it did break up in this side. So that tells me that between this hole here and that hole there, we're having a tug of war, and it's snapping the plastic. But I don't know why it did something. Oh, I bet you it broke that front one, because this could only give so much up here on this side. And that's why I broke this front one off, because that took the stress up there after that broke. So I got a feeling that my culprit is that hole, and mainly these back here are creating my issue. Makes me wonder if I had a step bit that I could put into that and open that up more on the steel to give it a chance to little wiggle room. I mean, I have a little bit of marking there, indentation right in here. Really hard to see. Kind of see a little indent, but I do have indentation there, so I'm gonna fiddle around with the finish on this one, the fit and finish on this, just before I start cutting and grinding on anything, and see what I have creating my issue, my scenario here. So I will be back with you shortly when I get an idea of how I'm going to remedy this. All right, so I got this where I could get some room in there for expansion. I trimmed a little up off here. This is all secured up there. I came up to this one. I chewed a little bit off of that far side there to give some room around it. Everything seems to be biting in pretty good, lining up. So I took on the bottom back here and I just dished them out like that, just to get me room, and it freed up everything coming on down just by doing that. So I'm hoping that will, just by doing that and getting that to where this hole here and that hole there aren't struggling under tension, you know, in the hot and cold and all that stuff. And I'm hoping that that's going to take care of the issue itself. So time will tell. I'll put it together. I trimmed and cleaned up a little bit back in, or on this side of it here, just to get some clearance away from that to take it on and off easier. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and get this side attached, I think, and then I'll move forward on trying to get that other side, do the same thing on that. And then I got to get that middle gray piece screws onto the bottom too, so I can't get too excited here. So I will touch back up with you when I get moving forward again. Okay, so I got the other side, the right side mocked up, put up on there. I got this side I'm working on right now. Getting better alignment for these. I opened this hole up back here, but you can see it's still shoulder there, so I'm wondering if I need to trim a little off that over there to get that to free up. And then I got some room here. You can see it goes back and forth in that hole. So I think I got the slack I need to have. I know I trimmed some of this up on that other side over there. Where it's underneath that plastic there, that's gonna create an issue, and that's tension. We don't want the tension. So I just gotta see what I can do with the plastic, because there's nothing I'm gonna do with the steel. So it could be that something's just a bit long right in this lip here. And I did shave it down on the other side, and that gave me some room, so I might do the same, trim a little bit down on there. It sits underneath another cover, so if it's trimmed, you're never gonna see it, and it won't create a leak or anything like that. So I think I'm gonna do that, and that'll give me my other room there. And then it had a bunch of big thick washers. It got replaced under warranty one time, and the tech that put it in, super good tech. They went a long time before we had any cracking issues again. So yeah, he put these big thick ones in. The diameter on it is really large. So what I ended up doing is I went and I made my own, just in the press, and then centered them out. And they're thinner, but I just double them up. And they see, I got that on that other side. So these are just a fraction larger than the washer versus that goes on it. Versus so these are the ones that he had them above and below and all that. So now I just went and did mine, and I'm just putting mine on the top, and because I have room for everything to slide underneath there, so that's fine. I just have the rubber to hold it down on the top to help with the vibration, dampen it. So I don't know, maybe I should put them top and bottom, but I'm just putting them underneath for now. If I do put them on the bottom, I'm gonna make them the idea of the hole will be big enough for that. So, and maybe I might do that anyways, and then just use my rubber ones on top. So I don't want to get too much there. I don't think AGCO had anything in there before. But I think the measurements of the hole distances were just a little bit weird. And you also got to remember, you got a joint right here that could be different on quite a few on this gray piece. So I mean, this whole cab section could be different, and that's why there's issues on some but not on all. So, but all right, I'm gonna keep plugging away and see if I can't finish up the last fit and finish of this to make it fit in a little nicer and put her together. So all right, so I got all the plastic pieces up on here. There's the sequence to do it is I put on the two outsides and then left these two loose. This one here and that one there. Left them loose to where you could get some flap in this on both sides. So you can lift them up just to get stuff negotiated in there. I go through and I put everything in soft, get it nice and loose, make sure everything's fitting, and then I go back and I tighten it up, and then I double check everything, make sure my clearances and gaps are good. So with that being said, I have everything done here in that front corner. All of this is tied up on top. I'm getting ready to put the back cap back on. That covers up the AC ductwork and all that stuff. So I'm just kind of getting my stuff around. The step bit came in handy for oversizing some of the holes. I got that light mount off right now. And then once you get the top on, and you still have your, you get the middle section screwed into the two gray pieces. And I wish I could have showed you while I was going, but so the middle gray piece screws into the bottom of the two outside gray pieces. And then those there, and then that black piece comes up underneath, and you have 1, 2, 3 screws in the middle of that black piece there, plus you have this outside corner here, and then this strip here fits underneath that one, and then that strip there fits under that one. So I put everything in loose and make sure everything was fit and wasn't binding or anything, and then I came back and I tightened it all back up. One thing I did notice, and I don't know if it was there before or not, I didn't pay attention when I took it apart, but up front, I'll go on the other side, it's easier to see. Oh, hang on here. This was riding down and had rubbed down in here. So I don't know if this had like twisted down, slacked out, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't, maybe it's just a dirt line there that I'm just now seeing for the first time, so the top's all on and secured anyways. I just got a little bit of hardware left, and then once I get that back cover put on, I'm gonna mount my 2 back lights, get those all done, and then I'm going to come up here and finish the mounts so I can get them tacked, get them welded into place, tack welded into place, and then I will pull them down, weld them up good, and then get them all painted up so that way they don't rust up on the front of the tractor. Same thing, I guess I better do that for the back lights too. I better wait, get those at least painted up so that way they don't rust out on me, so. But I got the back lights all put together. And you see that's my extension mount that I created, put on there, so. Ain't the prettiest, and they're not the same, but you'll never notice. And all it has to do is hold the light in a field, so that's all I'm looking for. So I'll get those painted up and get them nice and shiny black so they don't rust on me anyway, so. But yeah, most of this is all done. I still gotta do the transmission filter on it yet, but it's coming along today pretty good, so. If you have any questions or comments, or if I'm doing something wrong, or you have better ways of doing something, by all means, please leave a comment, let me know. I don't ever pretend to be a professional, I just fake it till I make it, I guess, so. As you can see, I got the back stock lights just back on for now. I just mounted both of those up. Oh, sorry, that other light's blinding, but they're just up there for now. Until I get the brackets painted, then I'll get those other new ones put on. Right now I got the light bar in the high position, and I don't know if I'm a fan of it. Can I zoom in with this? I don't know if it'll let me zoom in or not. No, I don't think it will. But I have it in the high position. It's quite an air gap, but I was looking, and when I'm in the cabin, it's in low position. Like if I'm all the way up, and sometimes, a lot of times I am doing loader work, it was blocking off quite a bit of view. But it's not like it'll be permanent. So if I run it that way and decide, or I might run it in the low position. If I decide I don't like it, I can put it up high, but I have options. So the red tape you see in the middle is correlating with the red tape I put in the center of the cab up there, measured, found center. And so the brackets aren't bent the same, so they kind of end up at different spots. But once they're all welded in and painted, nobody will be able to really tell the difference other than I'm telling you about it. So I'm getting ready to come up and tack a weld in. I got the other side cut down and leveled off, so it's pretty level like this one does. So this right here is what I was concerned about tipping up and down. So this one was pretty good. That other side I had to take off quite a bit, but I got it level here now, so it sits pretty good with the tractor. And then I have all sorts of adjustment with this for tipping up and down. But if I didn't do these brackets here, that go into the 2 factory holes right there, if I didn't do those, that would just be way too much weight and it would just crack everything up in there. So, and the small metal that brackets that the lights hold on to is just a thin sheet metal. So I wanted the light, so this is the steps you have to go through to get it put on there. So once I get it done, once again, like I said, I can always take these brackets, invert them, put it down and hang it back down here without even have to disconnect anything. So it'll be quite the setup when it's all done, but I'm just gonna reach up and put a tack weld in here on the back side of each side of it, and then I'll take the light off, I'll unbolt it all, take it down, weld them up really good, and then make sure I'll put them back on, make sure they're good, and then I'll pull them down and get them primed and painted. So, or I just might weld them, prime and paint them. I don't think they're gonna move that much once I get done. So, but I gotta put a blanket over all of this, so that way I could try to protect my tractor as much as possible from the sparks and arcs and all that fun stuff that I'm getting ready to do to her. So. The Welkers are up there building on another big tractor. And boy, it looks pretty with the new tires they put on there. I really like the look of it. They're doing a really nice job. For what it's worth from this farm kid down here. If you haven't seen any of their stuff, go over to their channel and watch it. It's definitely worth it. Way better content than mine. I'm gonna even tag them in it just so they can know that other Montanans are supporting them down here and proud of everything they do up there. And congratulations to Nick on the latest addition to his family. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool for his family to keep the tradition and the generations going. Really good hardworking families like that still. No, you do a line. Is there much style? No. Nice. We're done. Building the channel up. We're going to do stuff on there. Really excited. When he gets in the shop, he gets things after. You want to do stuff too? Or no? Okay. Right here, okay, I'm going to pull it down there. Alright, so we're going to pull the brackets. Zippity zip. This is another client showed up. Got some brakes to do on a minivan. Oh, here's Mommy. But I wanted to get this done and welded so I can get them primed and start painting them, and it'll be ready for assembly hopefully tomorrow. Paint might be a little tacky yet, but it'll be okay. Kind of warm up here. So we're wiring, putting some Deutsch connectors on the rear lights. I got the light bar done. It's already all wired in. It's mounted up. I was just recording for like 5 minutes and I was like, you know, I better see if my volume's actually working on that. And the microphone is plugged in, so no, it wasn't working. So basically all you miss is me putting the Deutsch connectors on. And now I'm getting ready to put on my homemade mounts onto these lights and get these mounted up on the back. Yes, it is. My lovely assistant's bringing the diesel heater back. Good thing she doesn't listen to my videos. Oh, good Lord, I'm going to lose my head if it wasn't attached. Here's a factory Massey connector. Nothing special, just a couple spades in there. And I could have made it up to those and been just fine, but I like the security of the weather pack on there, so. that. All right, so there's one. I'll just have to get a wrench, tighten that up, but once that one's tight, I can do all my adjustments I need to make to that guy there, so it'll still be a one wrench operation, so gotta do the other side real quick. Oops. Are you recording my best feature?
Can you zoom this thing?
I don't know if you can on that one. You might be able to. Oh no, try it.
Where?
Yep, pinch and zoom. Pinch the screen. It's a touch screen. Oh, rooster pheasant out there sure is making some noise. Thank you. Making sure just double, triple checking I got that right. So that's locked in. And get this back up in there. Like that. Alright, see if I did it right.
Yeah.
I know. Those are the only ones that I didn't get to. I ordered the wrong red ones for these.
Or did you?
Yeah, so I'll reorder them today. I did do that right.
Probably better wait for us.
Probably. All right, so we got the light bar mounted up on here. So here's how the mounts ended up turning out. 2 factory holes there, welded up there, come on out, bolt there on each side. So that's just duplicated. Here's going into the factory hole. I tied in with the Deutsch connector underneath in there. So there's my wiring. I left this a little long. I could flop this high or low. I put it up high. I'm not overly fond of how it looks, but I don't want to sacrifice my visibility with the loader over looks. I'd rather have functionality over looks. So, and if somebody complains that they don't like how it looks, then I'll just have them stare at it when I turn it on, and then they'll never see it again, as bright as that is. So the last thing I got to do is figure out what I'm going to do with this wire over here to get him taped down into there and secured. So do something for him. But there's the backlights all up in there and secured up. They're mounted on high. These are LED now all the way around. I'll go show you the connector for that, or the part number for that. These ones here, I'll get the part number for it. I don't have the box, but I got those. Those ones work really good. They're Oxedo or something off of Amazon, so they're not super expensive to get. They've lasted pretty good on a couple other rigs and stuff like that I've used them on. I know it's not American made, but I don't know what the hell is most days anymore if you can find it. And so, but that's a different subject for a different day. So now that's kind of finishing it for the service. I know I've been using it a little bit since then, been a couple days on the video. Had to wait for the paint to dry on the brackets, but I'm going to get this thing out and go to hook the plow onto it. Take the 3-point carrier off, and this hydraulic ram will come off too, and I'll put the standard factory one on for the top link. I just don't want to put that kind of stress on this guy here. So, and then yeah, I will go out and get after some plowing. So she's turned out to look pretty good, pretty slick. Got the headlights in. So she's gonna be quite the illuminated monster. But I appreciate you following along on this. If you like this content, go ahead and click the like button and subscribe if you want to. It doesn't do anything for me other than just makes me feel like my content is somewhat appreciated. If anybody has questions on the service, let me know. I did get the transmission filter changed in there. That was just a quick, simple drop out and swap out on it. So, but yeah, if you have any other questions or comments, if I did something wrong or you have a better way I did something, by all means, please tell me. I by no means perfect. So this is just how I do stuff here on my farm in Montana. Thanks for following along.